Let's talk about subtracting fractions. For the first example, we're going to use 3/4 minus 2/4. Here I have some fourths. I have 1, 2, 3, 4/4. This represents one whole. According to this problem, we are starting with 3/4. So here are my 3/4, and I want to take away 2/4. Well, 1, 2/4. If I take away those 2/4, I am left with 1/4. 3/4 minus 2/4 equals 1/4. Here I have written the equation horizontally. I could also write it vertically. 3/4 minus 2/4. I see I have the same sized pieces here, fourths and fourths. There were 3 pieces. I'm going to take away 2 of those pieces. I'm left with 1 piece, and it is the size of a fourth. You will notice that this is exactly like adding fractions with common denominators. When we're adding fractions with common denominators, we have the same size pieces, and we're just adding some more together. When we're subtracting with common denominators, we have the same size pieces, and we're just taking some away. Let's look at another example. For our next example, we're going to use 2/3 minus 5/9. Notice that I wrote this vertically. That is my preference. You can solve a problem horizontally or vertically just the same. I just prefer to stack them on top of each other. Here I notice my 2/3. I'm describing 2 pieces that are the size of thirds. Here in 5/9, I'm talking about 5 pieces that are the size of ninths. These are not the same size pieces. In order to subtract fractions, we must have a common denominator. That means our pieces are all the same size. In order to find a common denominator, I'm thinking about the multiples of these denominators. Multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. I'll do one more. Let's go to 18. The multiples of 9 are 9, 18, 27, so on. I see that they have some numbers in common, some common multiples. I see they have 18ths in common, and they have ninths in common. And if I kept listing multiples, I could find more common multiples. But in general, we want to choose the least common multiple among them. In this case, that's ninths. Looking back at my fractions, I see that this 5/9, it's already ninths. So I'm going to leave it alone. But here I have thirds, and I want to make that a common denominator of ninths. So I'm thinking to myself, what can I multiply 2/3 by to get ninths? Well, I know that 3 times 1 times 2 times 3, 3 times 3 equals 9. And if I do times 3 on the bottom, I also have to multiply by 3 on the top. So this 2/3, I'm going to multiply by 3/3. My denominator, 3 times 3 is 9, and now my numerator, 2 times 3 is 6. Now I have all the same size pieces. They're all the size of ninths. I had 6 pieces. Taking away 5 pieces, I'm left with 1 piece that's the size of a ninth. So 2/3 minus 5/9 equals 1/9. Let's look at one more problem together. Here I have 2/9 minus 1/6. I see that I do not have the same size pieces, so I must find a common denominator. If you aren't confident in finding common denominators, I have another video that focuses just on that. I have lots of options for common denominators. I could list the multiples of 6 and list the multiples of 9, but I want to find the least common multiple. And I know that the least common multiple between 9 and 6 is 18. I'm going to find a common denominator of 18ths. To change these ninths to 18ths, I'm going to multiply by 2 halves. I chose to use the digit 2 because 9 times 2 is 18. To make this equivalent, if I multiply by 2 on the bottom, I'm going to multiply by 2 on the top. 2 times 2 is 4. I'm using the identity property of multiplication here. I am multiplying 2/9 times 1 whole. 2 halves is 1 whole. So I know that anything times 1 is itself. So 2/9 is equivalent to 4/18. For 1/6, to get these sixths to turn into 18ths, I'm going to multiply by 3/3. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 3 is 3. 1/6 is equivalent to 3/18. I know that because I just multiplied by 1. Now that I have the same size pieces, these are all the size of 18ths. There's my denominator. There were 4 pieces. I'm taking away 3 pieces. I'm left with 1 piece the size of an 18th. When subtracting fractions, you must have common denominators. All of your pieces need to be the same size. In a problem like this, 3/4 minus 2/4, I was already given common denominators. These are already the same size pieces, so I'm just subtracting. In these 2 examples, I had different sized pieces, so I had to find common denominators before I could subtract.